I just feel like there's so much.
There's so much going on.
I don't even know where to start.
Well,
Yeah, well, astrologically, maybe there is so much going on just planetarily right now. I don't know if you guys feel that energy, but I really do.
you understand what's going on?
No.
Go ahead and
Well, I'll say that we're taping this on a Friday, and the Mercury is about to go in the right direction after today.
Yes.
So it should feel a lot lighter in general. So that's huge.
And it was a new moon last night. I actually watched a really cool YouTube about what's going on. And
So
it
what
was
did,
all
what did you
about
hear? Yeah.
how all the emotional stuff that's been coming up and like showing us our old stuff, that now is the start of doing it differently, which
Yes.
you
Yes.
know.
Agree. And so much of that has to do with even love for yourself as well as love for others. So,
Which is so crazy when I randomly started that game for myself about self-love.
yes.
And like, this is my 4th week of the full month of doing it. And
I wrote, well, I don't know if you can see this, but you guys made me do this. You made me write down my sticky note, and I've actually been doing it. It's not easy.
wait, explain what you've been doing. You've been saying it out loud?
Yeah.
In the mirror to yourself?
In the mirror. Like
Okay.
this is my reminder to go do that. You know, I like put my makeup on in the morning, and it really feels good. I know it does sound like a stretch to do it, and probably a big eye roll for many. It was for me. But when you actually really take a minute to do it and try as best you can to really mean it, it's like a big hug to start your day, and it feels really good. So thank you for,
So good.
yeah.
I've started doing it right when I get up and I like put my contacts in and I'm brushing my teeth, you know, when we're like puffy and
Yes.
I love you in your puffiness and your right, like really getting into the feeling of it.
Yes.
It's an
Yeah.
awesome way to start the day.
I'd love to just share too. I was in LA this week with a group of people that I'd never met before, and I forgot what it was like to be seen. So it's one thing to be on a Zoom call or a phone call or whatever, but to be in a new group of people that kind of sort of know you, but then to be physically with them, I got to tell you, I forgot what it was like to feel the energy of a group of people and have them see you for who you really, really are, and having the courage to show up for who you really, really are. I've known these people for 3 years via Zoom, but not in person. And it was really a gift to be there with them and to really feel their appreciation for who I was. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that.
Well, I'm curious as to what was coming up for you in that. Like, what was scary about it? Where did you hold it and where did you land?
Yeah. So the LA environment for me, I've had other jobs before where I've had very negative, judgmental experiences. I think that anybody who works remotely and then goes and meets with their teams or with people they haven't seen, it can even be true in family. Like you haven't seen family in a really long time, and you are so apprehensive about the judgment when you are actually seen in person. Like, do they think that I am this way? Do they think that I look this way? Will they be real with me, or are they just being nice to me? And it goes back to high school and grade school, and you know that fear of judgment. It's so funny. No matter how old you are, it seems like there's always that pause before you walk in the door or you actually see people for real. That what will they think, and who am I? Who am I showing up as? That's always the thing too. Am I like the real Karen? Am I the professional Karen? Am I which Karen am I showing up as?
Can I push you a little bit more?
Yeah.
And like just say, you know, yellow or red if it's too vulnerable.
Okay.
What are the actual insecurities of like, yes, being judged as what, right? Like, what is it that you're thinking? Because that I think is important to notice instead of most of us this weekend, I'm going to be with a bunch of family as well. And there's the thing about what am I going to wear? Am I going to look too fancy, too slobby, too this, too that, right? Like, what is it that comes up for you?
Yeah. Part of it is fitting in. I'm a more senior member on our team. They're very young, like fresh out of college people that are there. So it's so funny you should say that about what do I wear? Like I haven't set foot in an office in like 3 years, right? So what do you wear? do you wear the sneakers or do you wear, the whole thing. So from the vulnerability perspective, it's not only how I'm perceived visually, but then energetically also, right? Like being in an office environment again. And do they want me to be a leader, or can I really show up as who I am? And I'm trying to do that so much more, like be the authentic, real version of me, regardless of the role, regardless of the perception. And I did that actually this week. And it was
And I want to also
good.
I want to also just say what you just said. You said, do they want me to show up as a leader, or can I just be me?
Thank you. Ooh, good call out.
Aren't you all those things?
Yes, but it's like fitting in this perception, this modality of what leader means in a corporate environment.
Or in what you think it means in a corporate.
So, Robyn, that is so good. That is so
I'm just saying.
I think that what's so magnificent about the 20 somethings is that they have been more trained and conditioned to show up authentically and demand respect as that. Right. Whereas like we hear a lot of people in memes and online talking about like, you don't get to just walk into a room and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, watch me.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm 23 doesn't mean you get to scream at me. And it's okay for me to say, don't talk to me like that.
So true.
Whereas for us, it was like, we would take the beating, go to the bathroom and cry.
Yeah.
And so they are really conditioned to demanding respect and being authentically themselves. Whereas for us, we're learning how to blend that.
Well, and I think, Karen, for you in all of this time, you have just become more authentically you, and you rewrote the story of what that means for you in this trip, you know?
And I want to just reinforce to anyone who is questioning who they really are and maybe battling this feeling of role. Like, I have to show up in this, with my girlfriends, I have to show up this way. With my parents, I have to show up this way. With my boss and colleagues, I have to show up this way. I can tell you from my experience this week, it was so affirming to know that I could really show up as me. And that me was appreciated so much because I was being me. I was trying to shine light in an environment that's very tense and uncertain for so many. And because I did show up that way, the feedback I got was so affirming, and I felt like I made a difference. So it was just, I just have to encourage anyone who has that fear of who am I going to show up as? Take the leap of faith and show up who you authentically really are and watch what happens.
And I would say, even if you can only do it for 5 minutes to start and slowly get yourself used to like, oh, nothing happened. Nothing bad happened from me showing up authentically as me. Let's see if I can stretch it to 10.
Here's a question. Do you think some people listening don't know who authentically they are? And how do you figure that out?
Right. So that's what I was thinking too. Like, Karen, where do you start? Right? Where does one start? Because we've all had the unbelievable luxury of doing a ton of this work. And like through the podcast, you guys have done so many sessions with cool people helping you.
Yes.
Where does one start?
I have to say, and I hope people can hear it in the way I mean it, lean into love, right? Lean into amplifying a loving light to where you're going. If you can just start there, like that is seen in ways that people can't even describe. Like when people say, I walk in a room now, they see that first. And it's like it's a gravitational pull that people feel, and then they feel that they can be that too.
I need more of a tangible. What does that mean to lead with love?
Well, can I say something? To me, it circles back to loving yourself and doing that exercise of that love yourself challenge. Because if you can't actually even love yourself, you can't lean into love. So for Karen, you've been leaning into love for yourself. So you can go bring that, so that you can bring you and the energy of you to the room.
Yeah.
So let's say that is step one, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
For those of us that feel sort of lost in the who am I and what does that mean and what are these people talking about, making step one, having a sticky note on your computer that says I love you, and then walking over to the mirror with your eyes open, staring at yourself in the eyeballs and saying it out loud.
The other thing I would add, if that even feels like a challenge, the other thing that I love to do is make sure that the person that you're talking to feels seen. Like that can be such a wonderful bridge to that kind of mutual, really allowing yourself to be seen and then allowing that other person to be seen. If you can lean in and ask them questions, how are you doing? And allow them to be their authentic selves, then this connection happens that you can literally feel it is authentic. And that connection goes so deep. It goes way below the surface of colleague to colleague. Because so many people don't feel seen. So many people don't take the time to recognize other in a relationship.
So again, I would say what's a tangible on that? Because how do I make someone feel seen if I don't see me?
I think you have to listen. I think you have to make even what you're saying, Karen, when the thing to point out to people is to really listen. Most people don't. They're already thinking about what else are they going to say? In our conversation, I think we have a good cadence because we're actually listening to one another. And most people don't take the time to really listen. So to your point, when you're trying to see the other person, that means when they're talking, listen to what they're saying before you respond. So take it in, then you can respond. Then they'll really feel seen, in my opinion.
I would actually say, imagine you have a dial switch, like on our old stereos when you could speed up the track, or like on a podcast, you can listen at like 1.5 speed. Mm-hmm. Imagine that in a face-to-face conversation, you're slowing everything down. So there might be a pause, and that's okay. When they're done speaking, there can be a pause. You can think and then ask another question or respond. But I think we're so used to only having 2 minutes.
Yes.
And the slowdown might be enough to hear and then think of something mindful and thoughtful so that someone feels seen.
The other thing I think that's helpful too is, as much as you can in any situation, lean into what's positive about what's going on, even if it's just sharing your perspective of feeling positive about something. Because if you can start saying, you know what, it's just really great to be here. It's great to be in everyone's energy. It's great to get to know what you're doing. When you start on a positive note like that, even if things aren't particularly positive, of finding that little nugget of something to start with that feels good, that really sets the tone and the energy of the relationship and the connectivity that you have with someone else, versus like, oh my God, doesn't this place suck? Or like, there's such a tendency to go there, especially in corporate, but it can be that way in family situations too. Even if it's the dialogue that you're having in your own head, like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. Like, but if you can lean in to saying, hey mom, or hey cousin, you look great. It's so good to see you. Like, just start on that note. It just shifts the whole energy. And you end up feeling better too, I think.
Well, I always say you are the energy you bring to the room. That would be something I actually don't have it in front of me now, but I used to have it stuck everywhere, especially in my office, because
especially in corporate, I would imagine that's huge.
Yes, because I would think about, and I would really, I practiced that. It's a practice. It doesn't just happen. So play this game with yourself. How often can you think about that before you walk in a room, in any situation?
I also notice that sometimes I anticipate the negative happening as if I'm trying to prepare myself. Like, what crappy thing is someone going to potentially say to me or ask me that's going to trigger me? And what's a quick, witty thing I can say to get out of it? And so to Karen's point, I think staying in the positive as much as you can, like prepping yourself for the positive before you walk in, instead of prepping for the negative, is probably huge.
Trust me, it takes a lot of people off guard because they're so used to having the negative or even like just the disconnect, just the, hey, how you doing? Or,
and most of us connect through commiserating, not celebrating.
Which 1,000%.
It's irritating. Yeah. So if we focus more on what's great instead of tell me all the things that are wrong, or let's sit in the corner and talk shit about Aunt Sally. It's like a lot easier to stay above that line.
Well, and I think people trust you. So if you start at the beginning of being positive and then say, yeah, hey, what's really going on? I think that just sort of opens the door because they feel safer. Like it's not just going to go to a darker, more dismal place. It gives them that opportunity to feel like, well, maybe we can reach for something better if the conversation starts here versus way down here. And I just felt when I was there, people felt more trusting of me because I came in sort of with this more positive energy, that maybe that in the commiseration, it would turn into something more positive versus more of the negative. And it did, actually. It really did.
That's awesome. I'm going to change the subject completely to something very different. I'm going to ask you both, how often do you think of the Roman Empire?
0.
Yeah.
That would have been my answer. Okay. So there's a TikTok trend right now in the last 2 days, okay, asking men how often they think of the Roman Empire, okay? And so yesterday, Bella came home from school and she said to me, Mom, tonight, let's ask Dad how often he thinks of the Roman Empire. I go, why? Like, why? She's like, because you're going to be surprised. He's probably going to say he thinks of it pretty often. I was like, no, he's not. And again, my answer was never. So then my friend Lisa came over and we're sitting at dinner, and out of nowhere, she looks at Jeff and she goes, hey, Jeff, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? And first of all, Belle and I start hysterically laughing because we know she's clearly heard about this thing too. And I go, wait a second. And so I got my camera, my phone out so I could videotape. And Jeff's like looking at us like, what the hell is going on? And so I said, Lisa, say it again. So she's like, first of all, she said, do you think of the Roman Empire? And he's like, yes. And then she goes, how often do you think of the Roman Empire? He goes, at least once a week. What? And literally Bella she goes, because she said to me, but again, after school, she goes, most men say at least once a week. I go, no way. I was shocked by the whole thing. He like completely was the norm. I would, and if you know Jeff, he is not like what I would think.
I'm 1000% bringing this up at my family dinner of 35.
Yes, me too. I feel like running out of the room and asking my
I can't wait for you to do that. And so then there was actually even a Washington Post article this morning on it. I didn't get to read the whole thing because it's definitely become a thing that most men, a lot of men even think of it like 3 to 4 times a week. So
hold on. So when you asked Jeff this question,
yes,
did you follow up with like,
yes,
what exactly? Okay, so tell us what exactly does he think about, and what makes
like number one, could he survive in the Roman Empire? Number 2 was like the power and all of that. Personally, because we all think lots of things. I think it's like past life shit. Like I think
that's what came to me.
That's what I was thinking.
I think there's past life, like deep, but yet we don't have it.
But why Roman and not like
Egyptian?
No idea.
I would love for you guys to reach out to some of the like past life regression therapists, and like some of those people.
Yeah.
The hypnotherapists and all of them, to see what they have to say on it, what their take is.
Right.
And I actually remember my ex-husband saying that he was like hardcore atheist. And he was like, I could kind of sense maybe being a warrior in a past life, because I can like feel what it would feel like to like sleep on the ground in my uniform and like be scared.
So I have the chills when I think about it.
Why wouldn't women?
That's what I was just going to say, because what we know, and those watching right now, if you've watched us before or know us, like we believe we've been all different types of people in past lives. It's not like we happen to be women in this life, but I've been many times, I've been a man. I know that from my own experience of past life regression. So I don't know. I think that's what I think is so strange. Did we like turn off that stuff? Like to not.
But I also feel like, well, I would be curious for you guys. I know I feel more connected to past lives as women. Like I could see myself having been like a medicine woman or like a doula or something like that it's harder for me to feel connected to the male lives that I've led. So I wonder if it's that like
maybe
because they've got all that testosterone, they're more connected to the testosterone lives.
Maybe.
But on the way home last night on the plane, I was watching, strangely, a video about the Egyptian Empire. I don't know why. What that came up, what attracted me to that. But it's something that Robyn and I talk a lot about because we think we had that connection in our past life. And so I was like, I haven't watched one of those videos in a long time. And I'm watching these archaeologists, they're, digging up all of this dirt from these ancient, beautiful temples and the history of some of those rulers and the spirituality, the profound spirituality that ran those empires. And I felt a real kinship to that. I could see myself walking those roads and being part of that male, female on both sides. So that time frame really draws me. I wonder if the person who started that TikTok should do the same thing with women, asking them about how they feel about the Egyptian.
Well, about the Egyptians. Oh,
yeah. I don't think about it all the time, but I am drawn to that time period.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Wild.
What does that mean?
Well, and I do think there's something about the masculinity, and for whatever reason, why men now are really thinking about that. Jeff had, one of the answers he had to say was that in he'd be curious if younger men, like 20 and under, so definitely ask Graham, because he feels that his generation, and Jeff's almost 50, grew up watching Gladiator over and over when there weren't a zillion other movies and TV shows. And he believes that his generation, that became like a thing.
That was an imprint.
And that they were obsessed with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like 300 was big.
Yes. And so he feels like that's why. And so when they're thinking about like how to act in a certain place or whatever, they go to that.
And why we wouldn't, because we weren't watching those movies on
No, right. I was watching Can't Buy Me Love and like 16 Candles.
Dirty Dancing.
But I see Jeff as being sort of this duality in his, like, just as I see you that way, Robyn, like you have that male female sort of energy. I see that in him because he has such a gentle, sweet aspect to him as well. So it kind of surprises me a little bit that he gravitates
it surprised me big time.
I just never know.
That doesn't surprise me, only in that Jeff is also very like on the pulse of what's cooking. So I would imagine, you know what I mean? Like
That's true. So
okay, can I change the subject completely?
Yes.
So before this, I was in a session and the three of us had talked about the whole thing that happened with love, like coming in a session and whatever.
Yes.
So I'm in this session with someone I've worked with before, but I was just doing an energy alignment. So I was doing all of the work. And I'm like, part of what's coming in is there's this feeling of, we think in our like 3D thinking brains that when our heart is broken, it like hurts. And then we padlock it up, right? Like we create like a coating of protection. And what I was shown was actually, no, it starts as like a golf ball, breaks, and then forms as like a tennis ball, breaks, and then forms, and it keeps forming bigger and bigger because there's more and more capacity. Like we've learned what we want as well as what we don't. But as we expand what we want, our capacity to hold love expands until it's like a volleyball, a tennis ball, a beach ball. And it's like getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which I thought was really cool. So that was the initial part. And then I was getting that this client needed to set the intention. These were the words that came through. And we've talked about this. So it was weird that it came through for another client. They said that her intention, and most of ours, needs to be, I set the intention to increase my capacity to give and receive love. And normally when I'm going through these sessions, as you guys have had, I just talk for 40 minutes. And she goes, hold on. I said that to a group of people earlier this week. I said those words to somebody earlier this week. I'm like,
wow.
Thinking like she said some version or she version or whatever. And so I wrote it down. That was what I just read, because I was like, I want to be able to send this to you and not forget it. I set the intention to expand my capacity to give and receive love, which is what those, also that they would give me a metaphor with sports balls is hilarious because I am the least sporty Spice of all people, but that it was like expanding how much we can give and receive, and going like full circle here. It has to start with how much you can give and receive yourself, like saying, I love you in the mirror, doing kind things for yourself, not doing them because we think it's what's good for my heart and my lungs, or I'm going to lose weight or any of that crap, but truly doing it because it's what the machine needs and it's what it's going to make me feel good. And then something came up later where I said, okay, they're showing me having you like unzip this old skin, like at the end of the whiz, and like peeling it off. And she said, last week, I asked the universe to please shed this old version of me and let me be a beacon of light to shine through. And I was like,
wow. Wow.
Isn't that wild?
And that takes us back to what we were saying about this new moon energy as well, right? Like, this is the perfect opportunity for all of us to be able to do that. And I love that visualization because it's so easy, right? Like, you can't really think about just like or an old robe, just like taking it off and just letting it go, right? Oh, I love that. Lizzi, can I clarify? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Clarify something. When you said, because I'm having a hard time with this metaphor of the ball getting bigger when your heart breaks, because in my mind, I think people might be thinking, no, when my heart breaks, I'm going to like contract.
Yep. So think about a muscle. When we work out, the muscle fibers tear and then grow back bigger. So it's like the healing of the broken heart allows us for more capacity. I always felt like, oh my God, another broken heart. Like, how do I not be even more protective, and how do you pick your waller up? And now, right, like now I'm really going to be guarded from it happening again. And they were saying, no, sweet girl, it's expanding you for more. Because now not only have you faced it and survived it, but you've grown back bigger. You know, you deserve more. You want more. You have felt like, I remember having boyfriends that some were really snuggly and lovey, and I loved that, but they weren't really good at the communication. And some were really good and snuggly and good communicators, but we didn't see like a similar future, right? So it's like, it keeps building on itself as you go through different, even in work or in family or whatever. Like, we're sifting and sorting, as Abraham would say, like the pieces that we want and understanding what we don't want. And by knowing what we don't want, we know what we do want. So in love and in our heart and in opening that capacity, the more we go through, the more gets added to our list, which is a great thing. And I had sort of been telling myself, like, you're so picky now and you're so particular now, and your list of what someone needs to be is so refined. And it's like, no, that's great.
Yes.
It's like when someone says, what do you want to eat? Like, I know what I want to eat.
Well, and that goes to what we were talking about authentically knowing yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And not being afraid to say that.
Yeah.
And I think we all talk ourselves out of like, oh, it's too much, or, oh, I shouldn't, like that self.
Well, that's like, it goes into what we're going to be doing today, which is the fear of being confident too. It plays into that.
Yeah.
Which is a session that so for those that are watching that may miss our workshop that we're doing after this, you can watch it on demand. And that really is going after and releasing that fear.
Yeah. And by expanding the capacity that we have to give and receive love, like, I want more love for me from the universe, and I want to be able to give more love. And that means I have to be willing to do it for myself with confidence, right?
Yes.
Like, unwaveringly. And I've always sort of said, when my dog passed, it felt like there was nowhere to put my love anymore. Right? Like a dog, you can shmushki up all day long and like they might get annoyed, but you can always hug and kiss and love up an animal. And so it felt like this void of like, now what? And like me.
So what was the answer for that for you though, Lizzi? Like, how did you get to the now what?
I have to learn how to do it for me.
Yeah. You have to give it back to yourself.
The physical touch is still hard, right? Because I don't live with a person and there's no one, like, I love physical touch, but I've literally, in doing the 5 love languages for myself, I've started rubbing my arm and like wrapping my arm around myself in the morning when I wake up. And it's as hard as saying I love you out loud, but like intertwining my fingers and holding my own hand when I walk and, doing all the things that I want to do, but showing up for me. And then in my mind, sort of jumping to that quantum place of it's already done and it's already happening. So just feel it now that he is right here holding your hand, and that life is already here, and you're already walking up the driveway to that unbelievable house with the shower with the great water pressure. Like, be here now and do whatever you have to be here now.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's cheesy.
Always leaning in as much as that loving energy. Like we said at the very beginning, start there for yourself and feel that part of yourself as much as you can. And then people they will be attracted to that. And they will connect with that.
Yeah. Well, and next time we'll have to share more about that idea of shedding the skin, because I have something to add to that about how we can have many deaths in one lifetime. So that will be another subject to discuss. Yes.
Always so much to talk about.
This was what I mean, and at least I feel aligned in the Roman Empire answer that we don't think about it.
Okay, so I just got back from talking to my husband and my 22-year-old son, and they're like, "Well, yeah."
What?
And they're still talking about it in there right now. Yeah, it was only the most powerful empire in the world, and of course.
Did you ask them how often?
Well, Graham says very often. My husband's like, well, yeah, I mean, they didn't bat an eye.
Yeah, that was Steph too. It was like.
So anyway, just another affirmation. Anything you want to add, Graham?
I just don't see why it's that weird.
I just don't see why that's so weird.
That's basically what Jeff was saying too. So
I cannot wait to ask, because tomorrow night I'm going to be with people from like their 80s to their early 20s.
Great.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, can't wait till next week when we catch up. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks, everyone.